Have you ever wondered what kind of a small investing account the option investors are using to grow a €2,000 very small investing account into €100,000 in around 10 months time? If you would like to know, this is a very good video to watch. My name is Jukka Karinen and I'm happy to have you with me today watching Operation Small Account Growth, the performance review for the week 50 of year 2020. That's the week that ended just now on the 11th of December. Well, that was the Friday. The week isn't over yet, but the trading and investing of that week is over. On the agenda today, we've got pretty much the normal stuff. We go through the action this week. So we had 10 new positions, or we opened 10 new positions. We didn't do any cash flow trades. We closed the cash flow trades from the last week. And we sold 8 positions. There was quite a lot of action. We go through the current portfolio holdings and how they're doing, as well as the results, so weekly and total review, and also performance and statistics, including a benchmark against S&P 500. And by the way, if at any point during this video you feel like this is good information, you would like to learn more about some topic, just leave a comment. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button or like it, and share it with your friends maybe. So let's go through the new mid to long-term positions opened on week 50. That's our first thing to do today. We went long TDS May 2020 calls. Actually, all these trades are for year 2021, so I'll just drop the year out for now. TDS stands for Telephone and Data Systems. We went long those calls and, well, that was basically an error. I was very lazy on the analysis that night and I just opened it before the market closed, I believe on Monday. And I sold it for the next day for a really annoying loss of around 1% of my account, slightly less. Then we went long IJH, which is the S&P Midcap ETF, S&P 500 Midcap ETF, 240 calls. This is based on a technical trigger, and the trigger usually opens a trade with around 80% success rate. It's a technical analysis based trade. Of course, I do believe the S&P 500 mid-caps are doing fine also fundamentally. That's out to February. Also to February, there's a Pinterest trade. Also a technical trigger. I believe in Pinterest also in the long term, so I'm very happy taking technical analysis-based trades. This one has roughly 90% success rate based on historical analysis. Of course, it can fail, but I like those odds. I also went long XLC, that's the Communication Services Select Sector ETF. Out to March, 67 calls. I did that, I believe, on, was it Thursday or Wednesday when the markets dropped, and this one didn't drop really. It held very surprisingly well, and when the bounce started happening, this was one of the first ones to go up, so I thought that there's very clear relative outperformance, and that's a very good reason to open a trade, technical one. And EBIX is, well, it's a company called EBIX. It's a strong stock in a strong industry and strong sector, and as a bonus it has over 30% short interest, and it's just below 52-week highs. So it's a very good squeeze candidate, short squeeze candidate with solid fundamentals. There's a lot of things I like about this one. I also like it for the long term, but they do not have longer term options than this, so this is what I took. New short term trades opened on week 50 are here, so I went long Colfax, December 18th, 37.50 calls. This is a stock with 18% short interest and it was tripping higher, just below the 52-week highs. Very good short squeeze potential right there. I went also long Virgin Galactic calls, well, 30% short interest. Just made a new 6-month high. Well, this didn't keep running, so I took it off right away. Then I rolled these Colfax calls 1 month out when the market started dropping. I thought that I don't want to take the risk to be in the closest month expiration options, so I moved them out to give myself a little bit time to be right on this one. I went long AMD, December 18th, 94 calls. It dropped with Nasdaq and then bounced without really breaking the uptrend at all. So that looks very strong to me, therefore I'm in. For a short term, all of these short term positions are quite small. Then I went long Cohen calls out to 2021 January, 25 strike. There's 18% short interest on this stock, and it has very solid fundamentals and just made a new 52-week high too. So again, I'm going for the short squeezes here. As the markets are slightly choppy, I believe that this gives me a very nice edge. The trades I closed on week 50 are the following. First we go through the wins and then we go to the losses, because they were both. The long sleep number 15th of January 21, $75 calls I closed for a whopping, I didn't mean to go like that, but that happened. So a massive 221% victory. The short Pinterest cash flow calls from last week, around 50%, slightly under, because I'm including my commissions into these final numbers. So that's why it's under 50. I aim at 50% on these ones. So when the commissions go away, it's always slightly under. Also the Virgin Galactic calls that I opened last week's Friday, I took 50% profit and then commissions away, so 49 point something. The XLB cash flow trade, also out for profit. This Colfax trade that I needed to roll forward, well, I rolled it forward for a very, very tiny 1.5% profit. Let's round it there. And the Virgin Galactic calls that didn't start going, I closed before they went very, very strongly red. Virgin Galactic really crashed down on Wednesday. And then I took half position off at Pinterest calendar spreads at 122%. So now the trade, whatever I have left, is risk-free. I've already recovered all my risk capital and some more. There's no way to lose on that one. And then the losses are here. The sleep number short calls, this was the cash flow trade, and that went very bad because the sleep number just absolutely skyrocketed to 85. So if you remember the lesson from last week about shorting options, this is the reason why you never short with naked calls, at least in a small account. And if you don't remember, if you didn't watch that lesson, there I'll be putting some kind of link somewhere here, so you can press that if you want to see that lesson. Then the long TDS calls that I mentioned on the previous slide, that was a stupid mistake. Well, that was minus 20% in a day. If I had believed in my long-term thesis, I would have of course held, but since I kind of figured out that I was really lazy on my research, I just did the trade, not really thinking it through. I don't want to hold into this sort of loss, so I took it off. Now it can't hurt me anymore. Open positions that we have left for the long term, we've got Pinterest calls out to January 2022 plus 189% profit. Ford slightly dropped. I think last week we were around 50%, now only 35% profit. Mattel, this I believe went slightly up, 39% now. Turtle Beach 15, pretty much the same as last week. GM really dropped. I think it was plus 20 or so percent 1 week ago, but GM, if you have checked out the charts, they are back to the Bollinger Band middle area, slightly under. So I'm now at 2.7% loss, but well, I've got more than a year left on these ones, so I don't feel any kind of stress in here. Beazer Homes plus 9%, or well, pretty much 10, slightly down from last week with the markets. The new EBIX calls, this slightly longer term short squeeze candidate, minus 2.3%. Not stressful, I've got more than 6 months time. For the midterm, there are a couple of trades. Well, this is actually short-term trade. This is Pinterest. This is the second half of the calendar calls. They kept going up, so now around 130% profit. This is an old midterm now, quite short-term. I didn't move them on the next slide because I've got so many short-term positions open at the moment. There wasn't space. The XLB calls, they're on negative, but that's all right because I've taken quite some cash flow trades for profit against this one. So I think I've got still some initial risk capital tied into this trade, but most of that is already recovered. And on the next bounce up, I will be selling more calls to kind of get my risk money out before even having to liquidate the position under. Again, old mid-term trade, now becoming a short-term trade. I would like to actually close this quite soon, if ever it goes back on profit, and maybe roll it out. IJH, this took a beating with the markets minus 26%. I've got time until February, so that's fine. And this new Pinterest trade, the technical analysis based, plus 20% in, I believe, 2 days. Very good. And XLC is still on the mid-term side, 13% on profit. Those March calls. There's plenty of time on these, so I'm looking for a very, very nice victory, hopefully. Of course, no guarantees ever, but it has the time to go. The open positions, the second part for short term, we've got the ACB calls from last week's Friday, and I am expecting a full loss in here. The position is so small that I don't see any reason paying the commission to get out at minus 94%, so I'll just leave them in and see if every week it's a massive bounce. Now it would need to go around $6 up, so like 60% up or 50% up from here to go on profits. Unlikely, but not totally impossible. AMD core butterfly, well, AMD was dropping, so the butterfly is dropping. This still has 1 week left. I need to be between 95 and 50 and 104.50 to be profitable. I'm not sure how it will go. The AMD short-term calls, that is totally wrong number. That's supposed to be 94, not 45. I'm not going to shoot this again just to fix a number. That's 94 calls. Minus 30% a new position. I'm not very happy about this. CFX out in January, minus 9.5%. That's totally fine. There is the short interest. It's still consolidating under the all-time high, so I believe this is a very, very good chance to go up and go up big before the January. Maybe, hopefully, before the end of this year, so that the premium erosion doesn't really hurt me that much. The Cohen trade is plus 11%. This short squeeze started pushing up, so that's very good. I hope it continues, and I hope it goes far. Do we have something else? Cash flow from short-term options, or cash flow from shorting options. I didn't short anything because pretty much all the stocks dropped. So what I did is I cashed out all of my short positions this week and looking to open new ones when we get the bounce that we will eventually get at some point. Hopefully already on Monday. Let's see. Oh well, I'm waiting for new triggers on those cash flow trades. The results for this week, December 4th. So again, I measure from Friday's close to the next Friday's close, so that I can capture also the gaps, the possible gaps up and down on the weekend. Of course, I'm always hoping for gaps up. I'm mostly a bullish trader, at least for as long as the markets are not like dropping like a stone like they did in March. There was a ton of action again. I went from 6,350-ish to 6,540. That's a bit over 3% portfolio growth in a week. A rather bumpy week on the markets. S&P 500 closed 1% down, Nasdaq a bit more, 1.2% down. Not a huge negative week, but still happy to make a profit when the indexes are dropping. The total results for the time of the portfolio, so from October 8th to December 11th, a bit over 2 months now, or 9 full weeks and 2 days, I believe. 80% success rate on closed positions, and most long-term trades are on green. There's now the General Motors that is on red. I hope it doesn't stay there for a long time. Many short-term positions, I think that they will probably fail from the previous slide. The winners I already cashed in to my account, but I expect there to be a couple more losers unless the markets really rally next week. Let's see what happens. 52.3% portfolio growth over the slightly over two weeks here. That's very nice. S&P 500 grew 6.5% in the same time. So I'm very happy with the results, of course. The performance graph is here. So this model portfolio is on the orange and S&P 500 on blue. This is much more bumpy because of the leverage of options, and especially here that the markets didn't anymore just shoot straight up. There's a bit more bumpiness on my graph. And also that's basically the reason why there are so many trades on this week and the previous week already. The market started becoming a bit more volatile, and to manage that, I can't simply sit on my long-term options and do nothing if I want to keep this kind of top performance going. October was slow, like you see. That's basically because I was holding on to a very long time loser all the time. I don't know why I didn't cut it loose. I just didn't. The November month was really spectacularly strong, and the start of December was a small drop and then a slow drift upwards from here, while the market sold off. If you would like to learn more about the operation, I'm just going to tell more about it right here. The mission briefing is the following. So there is some funding. This is a small account. It started with 2,300 euros. I'm going to add, and I have added, 1,000 euros per month, every month, and I will keep doing that. The mission briefing, or the mission, is to achieve aggressive growth while keeping the risk under control. The progress up to this point was, well, pretty much you saw it on the previous slide. First 9 weeks down, total invested is exactly this, 4,293.53 euros. So the current portfolio size is 6,539 euros and 60 cents. That's 52.28% growth. And if you would like to learn more about this operation, or maybe consider joining it, you can visit us on optioninvestors.club, and yes, that is our website address, .club. I'm going to show you a crazy, unlikely graph to close this out. If we would take a theoretical 35% monthly growth and keep adding 1,000 per month to an account, the starting point we would take where I started with this portfolio, the first month's number would be 4,096.32. After the first full month, the model portfolio had 20-ish euros more. So, okay, very nice. At this point, I thought that that was probably a lucky shot, especially taking into account that the whole October was like nothing was happening. So pretty much all this growth came from the first week of November. The second month in the theoretical calculation would be 6,530. Now, if you remember the numbers from the previous page, we're actually quite close. On the 7th of December, which marks the exact close date of the second month, the portfolio balance was 6,632, so more than 100 euros ahead of this. Now, of course, towards Friday, the portfolio got a bit smaller, but we're still above the 2 months theoretical graph requirement for this 35% monthly growth. If we extrapolate and keep the 35% monthly, after the 12th month, we would arrive to 185,000 euros, almost 186. Now, do I believe in this? No. I think that at some point the markets will change. I may have some problem adapting to that. So probably not that much. I don't believe it will keep going this fast. But what if it does? This is how it would look like, and that's the reference that I made at the beginning of the video. We would be reaching $100,000 or euros. I don't know why I wrote dollars. My account is in euros, but anyway, the same thing. by the 10th month, quite precisely. I think it's slightly above, but whatever. This is just a theoretical calculation. Now the blue line is interesting. If you just add 2,000 to start with, over the 2,293.57, and you don't keep adding monthly, at the same point we would have under 50,000, so less than half, and that is already worth its own lesson. When I do that lesson, there will be somewhere on the screen here, there will be a link to that, but I don't have the video available at the point of shooting this one, so it depends on when you're watching this video. The link may be there or maybe not. So if it would keep going like this, after the 18th month we would have passed the million euro or dollar mark, whichever is your currency, pounds, whatever. And after 2 years it would be already close to 7 million, and well, I do not think that I can reach this. I've been managing a bigger portfolio for the past 4 or 5 months, and I took it from 8 to 900,000 somewhere there to 1.5 million in that time. So it's nowhere near this growth that I can do on a big account, at least at this point of my investing and trading career. But still, well, that's of course it's a lot of money. That's a nice number. Anyway, if you would like to learn more, go to optioninvestors.club. My name is Jukka, and I'm wishing you a very, very nice weekend and a very profitable next trading week. See you around.